Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And my name is Josh and this is Working Man Reads. Now, Monday through Thursday, you're going to get bookish content, you know, the typical book reviews and my wrap-ups, my weekly wrap-ups. But Saturdays, I want to start doing kind of a little bit of chats, you know, where I'm just kind of kicking it. I'm drinking coffee and just enjoying life. So we're going to just kind of talk about life topics. I was thinking about starting another channel to do this on, but then I was like, you know what? It's my channel. Let's have fun with it and kind of do what I want. You know what I mean? It's just how it's going to be. So today's topic is going to be life as a young father and the decision, because yes, children are kind of the decision that you make for your life. And the decision to become a dad in my early 20s. Well, I should say middle 20s, you know. I think it was like 25 when we had my first daughter, Aria. And yeah, I mean, my entire life, I actually thought I was going to have children before that age. I'm just built different. A lot of men and a lot of young men are different in the fact that they're very central to their own wants and their own desires, and very driven in that aspect. And I think it does come from testosterone and just things like that, where they're not so much focused on finding other people to serve or to be a part, just to have that family aspect. I think that a lot of men are, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say afraid of it, but timid to jump into it, because that makes, to them, it's like there's hundreds of songs about it, like where their life is basically ended, you know, once they have children. And I just never really viewed it like that. It was almost the opposite for me. I felt that my life wasn't truly going to begin until I could share it with my wife and I could have children of my own, which not everybody can do. And I'm blessed to have these children. So and I've always wanted a daughter, and now I have two. So yeah, I just was built different. I was always kind of on the hunt for the woman that I thought would be a great mother. So God willing, I found her. So yeah, I'm a very blessed man. So I just wanted to kind of talk about the journey. I have some bullet points. So these might be a little longer style video, but that's kind of what I want. Just basically a talkative video where you can just kind of get to know me as a person, what makes me tick as a human. And I think that that's good in transparency for everyone, you know. So my first bullet point is I just realized you realize your ring is off and then you got a ring tan? That's how you know you work outside. But I wrote down that people feel they are not ready. That's usually the first thing that people say, which is a valid reason. But I would go off on a limb as a father and a husband and tell you that, frankly, you're just never going to be 100% ready. I do think that you're just always going to be chasing that next thing. Oh, well, I got to get that good job, you know, because I got to be able to pay the bills and I got to have the health insurance and I got to have that is true, you know, and then after you have the job, you're like, well, I got to get a good house. You know what I mean? I got to have a 4-bedroom house before I can have kids, right? I got to have the house that we're going to be in forever, you know. I got to get a dog first. I got to try, you know, being a dog parent before I can be a real parent. I mean, no, I don't mean to poke fun at it, because I think that's valid. I didn't have kids until I had a career, at the very least, that paid for health insurance, because kids are expensive as shit. I mean, you have a baby, even with good health insurance, you're going to pay at least the deductible. I mean, it's just going to cost you money. Plus, every year, kids cost a shit ton of money. There's tons of studies out there about that. But I would just go off on a limb and say you're never fully going to be ready. We still don't. We currently rent this house, and we're going to be buying a house here soon. But I mean, my kid, she's almost 3, and then my other one's almost 4 months. Well, she is 4 months. So, I mean, you're just never fully ready, but they have a roof over their heads. They have a 3-bedroom house that we rent with a big backyard and 2-car garage. I mean, we have a very nice living arrangement that we pay in for. But So it's kind of like we're a typical millennial family where we haven't jumped into the house buying yet. So, um, yeah, but like I said, first kid at 25, which a lot of people actually, I know quite a few guys, even a guy I work with, he had kids very young. And that's obviously not recommended. Is I would say 20s for me was the perfect time because I have a lot of energy, which is that's usually what people say that have kids young, which can go both ways. I mean, I would say my parents were young, but I know plenty of parents that have kids when they're in their late 30s and they have tons of fun with their kids. There are studies that say that parents who have kids at an older age, so like in their mid 30s, their children do better academically, which is pretty interesting. So, for whatever that's worth, I would say that my kids are going to be okay with that because of how attentive we are as parents. And I mean, I read to them every day. So, I mean, my daughter knows all the dinosaurs and like by name, like Parasaurolophus, and she walks around the house. I don't think that that's going to be a problem for them. But I guess younger parents, the kids tend to be a little more artistic side, like more like into art and things like that. Where like older parents, their kids grow up to be like into science and math. But yeah, I just wrote a bullet point that I've always wanted to have a child. That was just my goal in life, was to just to be a dad. That some people, they aspire to do other things, and that's the beauty of life, is that you get to decide what you want to do with it, at least in America. We get to sit down and basically say, hey, like, college isn't for me. I'm going to go get this job and, make money, or, I'm going to go to college for 8 years and yeah, it's just a beautiful thing, the country that we live in, where we can have that. We can aspire to do whatever we want, and just my goal wasn't to write the next great American novel, which I would like to do now as a hobby. But a lot of people they strive to look after number one in their minds, and for me, my kids and my wife and God are God first, then children and wife, but those are my number ones, So work-life balance is important. That's something that I struggled with early on, because when I started working at 15, and so I've just always had a crazy work ethic, and that's kind of why I named my channel what it is because I just everything I have, everything that I've done work-wise, every job I've ever gotten has been because of my capability of talking to people and my strong back. And that's just how my life has been. So, so now I have to kind of phase back a little bit, and it's okay to work the overtime, and it's okay to support the family, but I do need to be present. Being present as a father, especially a young father, because usually people look at the ages 20 to into your 40s and into your 50s as the years. Those 30 years is when you work your hardest, especially when you're in your 20s and 30s. So I have to kind of do it differently, because I don't want to not be present at home and be there for my daughters. I have to be, in my opinion. So therefore I have to put work after my kids, which is just important. And if the job doesn't understand that, there's other jobs, there's other companies, especially when you're in the trades. And I think that every trade company knows that. So they're getting better with the whole work-life balance thing. And my company is great for that so far. And so I also wrote some negatives that I've noticed, is that I struggle with patience with the toddlers sometimes, where I find myself getting agitated. And I did write, a lot of people have the misconception that patience is a feeling, and it's not. It's something that you can train your mind. You can train your body to be more patient. You can be more patient. It is something you can learn to be better at, and that's just something I always have to work at. Sometimes toddlers can be frustrating, and you want to yell at them, and you got to remember that they're 2.5, years old, and they just have no freaking idea what's okay and what's not. So they think going on top of the chair and pretending it's a horse is a good idea. And you just got to be like, you know what, like you could get hurt, and then you just sometimes got to let them make the mistakes themselves. And that's what I found. So struggle with patience. I definitely struggle with patience. Yeah, so I did write that I think that you have to know your own level of maturity before you have a kid. I would say that I'm what most people would call an old soul. So when I was like 21, I didn't actually drink until I was like 24, 23. I just didn't. I'm just old school. I'm just even down to like reading and I mean, talking on YouTube. I mean, most kids my age are on, I say kids, I'm a grown-ass man, but most people my age are on TikTok and on Instagram and stuff like that. And even, I just felt the draw to go do YouTube. I just like the long form talking about books. That's why I stay doing it. I'm not the biggest channel on YouTube. I'm very thankful for the subs I have, but that's not why I'm in it, if that makes sense. It's more of a, like, I look at YouTube as one big ass book club, and so that's why I do it, just because I'm old school. I had a high maturity level at a young age, and I think I can attribute that. I grew up kind of hanging out with my grandparents a lot, and I think I just kind of became just very used to being like that, just understanding people, being appreciative of things, communication skills. Yeah, so I wrote down some important things that I find that I have to force the family to do is I make sure I read to my daughters. Now the little one, I'm starting to be able to read to her, and she'll like look at the pictures, but she has no idea what's happening. But I read 3 books a day to them. We do as a family. Sometimes my wife, if I work late, she has to read, and she does. She's a teacher, so she's very good with that. Aria's learning math. Basically, she went to go look at a pre-K, and she's ready. They were going to take her early, so we're doing well with that. But yeah, just forcing them to read, things like that. Just making sure that they know that books can be fun and books are cool, and just getting words, because the vocabulary for small children, I feel some parents miss on, especially young parents. They'll talk for their kids. I don't talk for my kid at all. If she wants something, she better know how to say it. And if she doesn't know how to say it, she should ask me how to say it. That's how I feel. We also have started eating at the table every night, and just talking and hanging out as a family. And I think that that's important, especially because of the devices that we have, where everything is a screen now. And my wife and I fell into this rut where in the beginning where we would have the TV on and we'd be watching shows, and there's just a level of like, and then you just sit there and you realize like we're going like entire 45 minutes without having a conversation with our kids, and that's just not okay. So we get coffee. But yeah, see, these are going to be pretty rambly and long-winded, but I'm hoping actually that I can find other like-minded maybe fathers and stuff, and we can all kind of, if you have suggestions on how I can be more patient, and just things like that, like definitely let me know any good dad books that I can read that'll just better me as a father. I know I read Dr. Meg Meeker's book, Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, or something like that, and I did like that. I need to read more. But I do find that no matter how many books you read, you can never underestimate the power of a child screaming at you. So, yeah, so this has been fun. This has been my journey as a young father, and it is always growing and getting more intense. We're going to shoot for 3 kids, so it's always going to be more. But, yeah, it's fun. It's fun being a dad. It's fun having this channel here, so that, like, I don't know, I'm going to get emotional here, but it's like you never know when tomorrow's your last day. You know what I mean? And it's cool. It's like a little bit of a legacy. It's a little bit of something they can look at and they can say, hey, like Dad was a super nerd on the internet and talked about horror books and me. You know what I mean? And I think that that would be cool. So even in my earlier videos, I have little video clips of my kids and stuff. My wife doesn't like that. The more followers I get, I'm supposed to not. Now I can't post. She doesn't want me. She doesn't feel comfortable with me putting them all on the internet just because I actually am getting people watching. But when I first started, it was like 10 people and I knew all their names. So yeah, so now it's not, I don't do that as much, but yeah, Aria and Emery and they're my little buddies. So my girls. So yeah, and I include their mom in that, my ladies, the ladies of the house. So I'm gonna go clean up the living room because you can't be a father if you don't keep the wife happy. That's also important. Happy wife, happy life is a very true statement, and my divorced friends out there can understand that. If you're gonna piss them off, they're the leader. You know what I mean? The little ones, the little girls will follow. So got to keep the wife happy. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. It's actually my wife's birthday was yesterday when you're seeing this, and it's her big party day. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy day. So I might get to comments Sunday. So all right, see you guys.